know me, my name is Grangerland. I'm the fire chief here from Montgomery County, ESD number 9. I'd like to welcome you to a huge event in Montgomery County, ESD number 9, home of the Caney firefighters. It's been a long road, as most of you know, that's taken this journey with us. The building next door was a landmark in this area for a long time. A lot of that property and donations were made by the community. And we want to keep that tradition moving forward, because without this community, we wouldn't be here. We'll get to that in a minute. The Houston Bagpipers were supposed to be here, but they got delayed. They may or may not make it. Typical Houston firemen, they can't get anywhere on time. If they get here, we'll put them where we need. So right now, if y'all would, step outside here and raise the American flag. Hudson for the prayer and blessing.
Please join me in prayer. Father God, we come to you this afternoon as we dedicate this fire station to thank you for the multiple blessings you have bestowed on this community, this fire department, and the members over the years. You have helped guide the Emergency Services District 9 Board, the fire administration, to make decisions pleasing to you and in the ultimate best interest of the citizens. You have laid your loving hands on our firefighters and kept them safe as they have responded as servants to their communities and emergencies. As we go forward, please continue to watch over the firefighters, keep them safe, as well as guiding the ESD board to make decisions pleasing to you. We know that ultimately there is only one way to heaven, one time earthly life is over, and that is to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. And that is the beginning of such a relationship to start with Jesus simple prayer. We ask all these things in the name of your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Chief. A few introductions, and then we'll get moving forward. My command staff, Chief Bailey, he's been with us for quite a number of years. We see him about once a quarter. He took another assignment in ESD 1, and he still pays us a visit. Chief Olson, he's here 32 hours a week, also a chief at ESD 1, and very loyal to the organization, lives in the territory. Chief Bob Hudson, we were very fortunate. He retired from South County. We just happened to be standing in the right place at the right time. Pulled him out of retirement after about 3 hours. And he's here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tasha Marie Crawford, standing in the back row back there, is our admin officer. Tasha's been here 8 years? 9 years, which is like 20 years for me, 12 years. Been here, and who am I forgetting? Chris Thomas, all the way in the back. Chief, raise your hand up. He's a retired chief from Houston. He plays our Santa Claus and pretty much helps with anything that needs to be done. Directly to his right is Barbara Rapilius back there. Barbara, raise your hand. Barb helps out usually every Friday, and anytime Tasha needs assistance. Very loyal to this community, very loyal to me, and very loyal to this ESD. I'm very fortunate to have him. A few other dignitaries, Chief Oliphant in the back, number 9 in North County, the second best chief in the front row right here, Chief McKeska. He's okay with that. Up here in front, Ms. Dees, Mrs. Granger, everybody knows the county judge, county fire marshal, Mr. Williams, beat me up a little bit when I put the guys in prayers. Randy from the hospital district, Chief Campbell, Melissa, and our first full-time assistant chief, Paul Sims. Steve, would you like to say your words?
Waves that come from the old station. I was here for 17 years, the old station hospital, and my husband worked for the district as a commissioner and
hired me. It was actually 2009. I started January 1st of 2010. And man, I couldn't have made it this far without either one of them. It was a blessing to have it. We're very fortunate. Mrs. Granger, you want to come up and say a few things?
I do. Now that I've thought about it. I just know Don would be particularly good to see this. He really would. But one thing I want to say, I'm so thankful for this prayer because all good things come from God. And this is a good thing. And it's because of Him, His being able to show grace and mercy that this has all come about. And let's pray for one another. Pray for these guys. They're giving their life. They're giving their time. They need uplifting in our prayers. And I just appreciate that y'all allowed prayer in here. Wow. That's something.
We're very fortunate. Mr. and Mrs. Granger donated this property here. Mrs. Granger gave us this easement so we could ease the building that way a little bit. It was a difficult piece of property to build a fire station on because the most important component was keeping that building next door. We couldn't afford to keep moving different locations. So she gave us the easement. All I had to do, and I hate to say this in front of the judge, I had to take care of 4 puppies. We found 4 puppies.
Yes,
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I come home with paw prints all over me. My wife would go, Mrs. Green.
And I have more. If anybody wants any, I'll do some.
Wait a minute, is this another landlord? So it was 4 dogs. We found great homes for them, and then 2 burn piles. We gave us the easement, which allowed us to slide that way just enough to where we can get the ambulance in and the pumper in and out this way. So thank you very much. Judge?
Speaking of puppies, I know where there's about 500 of them right now in our animal shelter. We just had a huge seizure. We got a ton of dogs and cats, and they'll be available shortly. I just want to say, I had the opportunity to go to the funeral of one of our fallen out in Montgomery a couple of months ago. And as I sat there and as I talked and I looked at everybody, I mean, where do we find people like you guys? That you guys go out there and you literally put your lives on the line for the people of this county. We are so blessed. We take it so serious. I know that since Harvey had put a lot of blood on the other facility, you guys stayed the course and you completed it. You did what you needed to do, puppies and all. Look at this. It's magnificent. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Really, congratulations. We're all so proud that you do. You take care of this community. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Fire Marshal Williams. Come on. You know it since day one.
What?
You know it since day one.
Since my very first fire was my first major fire was in 1980, right down the road here in 1485. And since that time, I've watched this department go through many a bay door. In an older station, they've endured floods. They've had problems where they didn't have the room and the space they needed. And this is a department that, in my mind, has done the most with the least for a long time. They've done a really good job for the taxpayers. They've done a good job for the firefighters. And I think now we've got it where we're set for a very long time. For the next generation, you've got a place and a home that will keep you safe, keep you warm, and keep you dry.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely. Mr. Johnson, an excellent partner for Montgomery County ESD number 9.
I think it's an honor to partner with Chief Glenley and his boss Tasha. We have worked for a long time to put together a situation. We did very little. We're just there, where we could move out of the old station and into the new station. It was helped along by getting flooded out, so we got to live in trailers for a few years having this happen. But Chief Caney has done a fantastic job of taking every penny and making the most of it. He's built a beautiful station that's going to be a landmark for this area for the next 40 or 50 years. It's going to be great for the people who work here. I remember the first time 11 years ago when I first started working here, and I toured all the different fire stations and locations where the hospital district was located, and I came here and with the little station next door, and I went into this little tiny room that had 2 little bunk beds in there, and it was dark, and I said, there was 2 medics in there, and I said, my goodness, this is where you stay? I said, yeah. I said, well, how do you stand it? They said, we love it here. The people here are fantastic, the firefighters are great, we love the chief, we love this location. And that's been the case for the last 11 years that I've been here. The people who work out here from MCHD love working with this group. They love this fire station. They love the firefighters who work here. It's a great partnership. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to get to continue to be partners with you guys. We look forward to working with you for years in the future. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Pete? Sure. Absolutely.
I'll be brief. To summarize what Mr. Johnson said, and you've said, Chief Landley, the word loyalty a few times, and I think that summarizes our partnership well. And Mr. Johnson referenced how well our crews get along. Every year we have shifted it, so every year our crews can pick a new home to go to. And repeatedly, year after year, we've seen the same people want to work out here. It's because of the relationship and the loyalty that we share amongst our organizations. And I think that this has long been on our project list, and I'm glad we were able to get it done. It's perfect timing. And we look forward to the future for the community. What a benefit to have fire and EMS in the same station. It allows us to be more efficient, allows us to work together so that we show up maybe on your worst day, we're already showing up working as a team. And it's because we cook at the same place, we share a home together, and that's a good working relationship. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Sims. Chief Sims is our first full-time assistant chief. As most of you know, I've had part-time staff the whole time I've been here, 13 years. I guess January will be 14. Chief Sims came from a long history of family and fire service. Came through the ranks, was assistant chief in Conroe, went to Harper Heights. Man, I am fortunate to get him to come home to help us get this across the finish line.
Thank you, it's an honor and privilege for me to be able to be here today. It's a full circle situation for me. I started as a volunteer firefighter here in Grangerland, out of that fire station that used to be over there. I had the opportunity to work on Medic 21 when I was working for the hospital district out of that fire station. This is a banner day for the ESD and the Caney Creek Fire Department and the Grangerland community. So I know everyone is happy. I'm looking forward to working with each and every member of this organization and get to be a part of the family and certainly working with Chief Landley and whatever I can do to be a family. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you very much. The couple other people I need to recognize. Chet, where's he at? All the way in the back there. With Montgomery County 911. Rick, where's Rick at? There he is. Rick, over Firecom, our communications link to the real world. And I got to tell you something. Me and this guy in this front row right here, Chief McKester, we've been best friends for 40 years. And it was important for him to be here today, for him as much as it was I, because he's truly been a good friend to me and my family. But here's something I want you to think about. This guy's been a fire chief in Montgomery County for over 30 years. That's pretty impressive, Chief McKester. Truly a role model for these young men and women behind us. And I appreciate you being here. So, hey, a little history. We actually started this project 10 years ago. And every time we were ready to pull the trigger, something happened. Station 84 had a lady from A&M come in, a mold expert, and said, hey, you need to shut this station down, tear it down to the red iron, and start from scratch. So we were forced to do that. 84s is down in Bend Estates, so we put the brakes on this. As soon as we got done with that, 86s had mold upstairs, and we had to do the exact same thing. And all the work the firefighters did. We didn't hire contractors to do any of that stuff. We did it all ourselves to save money. So we got that going, and then the Texas Comptroller the following year said, hey, you owe us $300,000. There was an overpayment 5 or 7 years ago, and we need that money back. So they just pulled that money right out of our monthly sales tax deposit. So that was another setback. So right when we're ready to sign the line, 82s gets mold. So, you know, and that was pretty much the icing on the cake for me. I got thinking about it sitting in the parking lot as I'm watching these firemen pull the ceiling in their own kitchen. And then I realized, you know, back then it was built by volunteers, and that's all the money they had. They didn't have sales tax. It was bake sales, car washes, fill the boot, and that's when I realized, hey, you know what? It is what it is. We just need to keep moving forward. So there was some serious setbacks financially for us to commit this kind of money to this community. Well, then the storm comes, tropical storm Imelda. Anywhere from 1 inch to 32 inches throughout the county. Just like every other emergency service first responder in this county, it was call after call after call after call. And that particular day, fire and police responded to 650 water rescue calls. So you can imagine these calls are coming in, it's early in the morning. The three of us were trying to get here. They're in pickup trucks, I was in a little Tahoe. And we were trying to get here, calls were coming, things were happening fast. We got here, the guys were already deployed, and water started coming in the building at a very alarming rate. Boats were all gone. That particular day in Montgomery County alone, these first responders touched 4,000 people, either with boats, walking them out, putting them on a bus, big trucks, pretty much every resource that we can get our hands on during this storm got touched. Not a single call was missed. Not one person was left. These guys responded to every call that came through that 911 center as their fire station was filling up with water. So there was three of us left, myself, Chief Olson, and Chief Ford. Realizing that we couldn't get in and out, we sent Chief Ford to set up area command down at 83s, because that, as Rick will tell you, the call volume over there was just overwhelming for our dispatch system. So it was me and Chief Olson. And once the water got ankle deep, we started picking up computers, doing everything we can. And the sheriff's department pulls up in a 5-ton and says, I need one guy with a radio and a life jacket. Well, it was that guy. They wanted the young guy for some reason. But anyway, off he goes, and now I'm here by myself. I back my car all the way up in the building, and when I seen the garbage can and the Sharps container float by my car, I thought, you know what? I'm going down with the ship. There's nothing else we can do. So we abandoned the station, and it was troublesome for me, because in 2019, pre-COVID, there's 8,000 students, faculty, and staff that come into this community. This fire station is a safe house for those people that travel in here every day. Well, now the engine is 5 miles away. The ambulance is up at Tens, which is about 7 miles away. And there's a big problem. Every single day, one of us was there Saturdays and Sundays. In case a call dropped, we'd get in the truck, a pickup truck and respond until the closest engine can get over here. Well, 30 days, and this gave the fire marshal some heartburn, 30 days from the time that water got in the fire station, we were open, living in a trailer behind the building to get this engine back in service. And it took a lot of work. IT stuff, South County bringing their command van up here. It took a lot of things to make this happen. We're able to process payroll, we're able to pay the bills, get the guys over here, and 45 days later, here comes the hospital district with a not so nice trailer. Sorry.
It wasn't.
45 days later, I could sell a lot of things, but I can't sell that trailer. 45 days later, the medical was here. Well, that was a sigh of relief for this organization because there is so many people here in the day. You just can't take an engine out or an ambulance out. It's too much of a liability. It's too much of a risk. So we got the station up and running somewhat. They lived in the back in these trailers. We had 2 offices, 1 bathroom, and it was rough. We had no walls. We left it that way because we knew the building would come down. We didn't want to spend the money. And we just couldn't afford to spend the money. So one day the board president, Mike Cepeda, said, hey man, I'm here once a month and this building depresses me. So a couple of these chiefs did some sheetrock work, and you don't ever want to have them touch your house. And we painted, put some walls up, threw a little flooring in, and we lived like that for 3.5 years. So in this process, we knew we were getting close, but we had a lot of work to do. We started drawing out what we wanted in a fire station. We did it previously, but things changed, personnel change, apparatus change, so we didn't want to go back to the very original plan. And we interviewed some companies, and I got to tell you, that was probably the best thing we did, is this setback, because it allowed SLI in our life. Can y'all stand up, please? These people right here took what we drew out on paper and pencil, took our ideas, and built this beautiful building exactly like we wanted. It couldn't have turned out any better. And I just need to thank you from the bottom of my heart. We're very happy. You did a great job, and we appreciate it very much. You know, they even stepped up to other projects that they had nothing to do with. You know, there was a problem at a station, and Travis would take his lunch, and he'd run over there and give us some input. It was a rock solid company. And everything just felt perfect, and I appreciate that. Let me see here. A couple of other, again, past and present board members from the ESD and the hospital district. I can't thank you all enough. It was your faith in me to put this together and to lead this organization. I can't thank you enough. Mr. and Mrs. Don Granger, Mr. and Mrs. Dees, the McKinley family over here in Montgomery County Hospital District. And here's for me, I've been a firefighter for 40 years, 35 on some of the busiest companies in Houston. And I got to tell you, the biggest compliment for me is 0 complaints from the taxpayer. And that's because these men and women on this back wall back here. This is where the rubber meets the road. Are the firefighters and the medics that respond to someone having their worst day. And I am very blessed and fortunate to have you representing this organization out there on the street. And there's not too many fire chiefs that could brag on that. 0 complaints. And up until recently, the poorest fire department in the county, a 1% turnover rate. That's pretty good. And I can't thank you enough. You always put your best foot forward. You remember my saying, let's just do what's right. And it paid off. I'm very blessed to have every one of you. Couple more things, and there's some food in there. If you don't eat it, I'm gonna have to payroll deduct it because I don't have that kind of budget. So make sure y'all eat it. And it's in the boardroom there, and take a gander around the fire station. The old building, there's two, I hate to do an advertisement, but there's two companies that kept that place alive. And Always Best Plumbing. The sewer lines under the building were collapsed, and that guy, he kept us going. And Cooper Electric, you know, when they come in and there's water coming out of the electrical box, I'm thinking, this is a bad day. He goes, hey, we got this, give us a couple hours. And they were able to keep us up, running, and we didn't burn down. And I just need to thank those companies for being there for us. A little tradition. Historically, back in the 1800s, when they came back, there's our attorney, Larry Forrester, over there. Just walked in. Thank you for coming, Larry. Back in the 1800s, when a company came back from a call, the horses obviously couldn't back into the fire station. So they'd uncouple them, they'd push the hose wagon in, and then they'd bring the horses in and they'd recouple them. Over the years, their tradition is whenever you get a new engine, you push that engine into the new quarters, similar to the horse and buggy days. So we don't have a new engine, but we are going to push this engine into this new fire station to keep the tradition going. So with that being said, if y'all would help me cut the red ribbon. Chiefs, come on. Right.
Just like you're doing it.
Yeah. Really? You couldn't get one a little newer? There you go.
You're on a budget.
Yeah.
That's a goose.
There you go. Chief Liao, you know what to do.